Good. We're gonna I'll just riff a little bit about the premise and how we see it. Yeah. So right with the title non-duality, it's very unique because you don't get non-Buddhism or non-Catholicism. It has its own direction, and which is its potency, really. It's just more of a negation of what we believe is going on, instead of trying to find something else to go on against what we believe is going on. Yeah, this is just a negation of the fundamental how we're seeing things. Yeah. So we were talking last night or another meeting, and obviously we feel like there was a moment before this moment, and there's now, and we have an expectation there's going to be a later. Yeah. Yeah. So, and it seems like time is more like a linear process. There was something, there is something now, and there's going to be something. Seems to go that direction as long as we agree with it. Yes, of course it plays around, or we have different experiences, but usually our understanding is that it's linear, and it's something that's sort of imposing itself on us, even though most people's experience is acutely subjective. So if they're at work, it seems like fucking forever, and when they're doing something they like, it's speeding by quickly. So obviously the subjectiveness of it sticks out like a sore thumb but the habitual understanding is there's something called time. And for many of us, we feel like it's fucking with us. You know what I mean? I'm getting older and can't do what I used to do and all this. All right. So there's time. And then obviously there's space. Yeah. So there's space so I can see a chair and a table, and there's a lot of stuff going on. And here we have all these different Zoom squares with like little spaces. And then there's appearances in those spaces. And the center to us, of the appearances would be the people in the squares. Yeah. Now, if there was a sentient chair, it would be noticing the chairs probably in the squares. But because we think we're a body, we're seeing bodies. Yeah. Yeah, generally. All right. So something in my experience, I felt uncomfortable since I was sort of young. My head was a little going over me too much. Yes. And I didn't seem to have much power over it. So I wanted to find ways of avoiding it. Yeah, basically. And then I found a very good way to lessen its importance, which was drinking. So I started to drink when I was about 12, 13. I didn't start to drink. I was introduced to some beer, and that set me off because I realized beer brought about something that I was looking for. I didn't know what I was looking for, but I knew that was what I was looking for. A feeling of less concern about me and others, or how others are thinking about me. So went off in that direction. And of course, that fails because you're in it. And then spirituality became obvious, and I went that direction. That sort of seemingly failed. Then I went back to drug addiction, and then I ended up washed up into recovery. And thank God something did for me what I couldn't do for myself or no one else could. And that was keep me sober, keep me, not drinking and using. And that opened up a lot of doors. And then I revisited places where I tried to escape from the drugs like spirituality. And I had a different attitude, but I ran into the same dilemma. I was there, I was seeking, and the head really got into the word perfection when it came to spirituality, which was very uncomfortable. I've got to do everything perfect, got to be a saint. And it was just as unbearable as when I was running around like crazy. So what happened is most of the solutions I got introduced to seem to still inhabit time and space. Yeah. So, and the center of the time and space was Paul. Paul was always in every path that was taken. Paul was the theme of the path. drug addiction, Buddhism, rehab, whatever. Yeah, Paul. And so Paul really was looking at as a way of changing Paul, so to speak. And everything Paul did usually had something to do with doing, which takes time. Yeah. So I would do stuff and meditate and all this and go on retreats. And I figured if it wasn't working, if I did it for a short time, it would if I did it longer. So the weekend retreat turned into a week retreat, and then traveling to Burma and Asia and going on 3-week retreats, throwing in some other shit into the retreat. But it was always, some things were probably really not working, and I got to do more. Okay. So here. Now, what I finally came to the conclusion was I was the obstacle, and I thought I was a body. So I figured the body identification is what's blocking this whole advancement into that spiritual realm. And so, yet, unbeknownst to me, when I would be moving my ass to sit on the meditation cushion, my head had already claimed to be the meditator. Yes. So as fast as I could get to the cushion, the head's claiming going to the cushion was faster. So before I hit the cushion to sit and meditate, I was seen as the meditator. And in the hindsight from the non-duality understanding, that's the dilemma. Yes. It's not the meditation, doing it or not doing it. It's the formulation that there's a meditator from whatever I do. So if I'm running, I'm a runner. If I'm thinking, I'm a thinker. If I'm feeling, I'm the feeler. If I'm doing, I'm the doer. Yes. And I found that this process of claiming was super fast. So when something happened, before I knew it, I was cast as the doer of it. Yeah, very quickly, to the point I felt I came to a conclusion that no process that I have ever been introduced to could get before that process of the head claiming to be Paul. I just didn't see like anything could get before that. They all came after it. And that's the freaking dilemma. And this is the message of non-duality. Yeah. Because everything we were doing, there was a dualistic format, which there was me and Buddhism. Yeah. There was me and meditating. There was me and seeking. There was always a dualistic thing, and non-duality is just negating that. Yeah. So and the thing is, if I stop practicing Buddhism, I'm still practicing Paul in a way. Yeah. So I can't seem to get out of Paul, even if I vow to leave that which I had been or go to a new place. It seems to be Paul always arises wherever I am. This idea of being the doer, the feeler, and I don't see anything I can do that could outdo that. It's too fast. And the trick is, when that process of claiming what I'm doing occurs, it gives meaning to the second process I think I'm doing. So, and it gives the meaning to that second process of reinforcing the first process of being Paul, while I'm under the illusion that I'm doing something to get out of Paul. That something is being used to reinforce that I'm in Paul. So this is why I came to this complete failing and futility of trying to get out of me through these other processes called practice, Buddhism, this and that. Because the process coming before those processes now was using the second process to reinforce itself. When I had the story, the second process was to destroy the thing. It was reinforcing the thing. And Ramana Maharshi, a great master, put it beautifully where it says, there's a presupposing of a non-existent thing, let's say this body, yeah, to be an existent thing. Yeah. So when I feel alive, I think it's Paul that's alive, the body. I'm not getting it's I amness. It's not the spirit, if you want to call it, or just whatever that is, awareness, whatever. it's attributed to a body. So, yeah. So this process is so fast, I didn't think I could ever get myself out of it as it. So then non-duality now comes and is this, it's the answer to this conundrum, because obviously seeking is reinforcing the seeker. Even if you're seeking for the demise of the seeking being claimed by the first process is now reinforcing the seeker. Yeah. So he says there's a presupposing of this non-existent thing being an existent thing, and then wanting to get salvation for itself. And then based on that, its spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the non-existent thing. How can they destroy it? That's exactly the formula. Because of that first process, mental process, we're not seeing, which is the claiming of whatever's going on to imply it's you that's doing it or being done to by it, yeah? Then that the secondary process could be beautiful in a neutral view, but it's not a neutral view. It's being used by the first process to reinforce the first process. So what you're doing to get out of something is reinforcing the idea you're into something. Now, when I was confronted with that, seeking ended on a certain level. I just stopped trying to get out of Paul as Paul. It's just because it hit me, it fundamentally does not work, and it's not personal. It's not because Paul hasn't done enough or Paul hasn't been clear enough. There's a Paul, yeah? And Paul is that which is obstructing what you call Paul wanting to be free. So the non-duality, it put these recognitions into words that I could share and that someone else could grab and maybe use it to lift itself out of an imaginary condition. And here we are on a Wednesday night, hopefully doing just that. Yeah. And I found what the non-duality understanding does, it gives you a clear vision of the misunderstandings that are confusing us quite a lot. That why is my attempt to get out reinforcing that I'm in? It's amazing, yes? Because all I feel I can, I can't just be anything. Being taken to be a doer, I feel I have to do myself into a being, yeah? But we are that which we'd like to do ourselves into. This is the beauty of the message. You are being it right now. The head doesn't see it that way. The head can only see being it as a conclusion from doing something, yeah? But we're being it no matter what's happening, no matter what's doing, doesn't change the fact of our being, yeah? And this is because the first process of the selfing that's going to use the second process of trying to get out of the selfing, there's something before the first process of the selfing, which is being, and that's what we're looking from, and that's what the satsang is targeting to hit. I do not want you to understand it. I want you to be understood by what you are. That's for sure. But I don't want you to understand shit. That's another part of reinforcing that which you would like to weaken, so to speak. Yes? So this is the whole underlying, spirit of these satsangs, is just to see, let's say you see the greatest process, let's say right now, because every year there's a new amazing process, there's an amazing new radical Buddhism or extreme fucking pure, super pure awareness Buddhism. It's painting legs on a snake and fucking lipstick on a pig. It ain't gonna work. It's not, because that process still can't beat the first process, which is the selfing. It just can't do it. The selfing happens in less than half a second, probably. Yeah. while you're getting ready and putting on the garb and the uniform you need to do the next process, you're already the doer of the process. It's already made you the practitioner of whatever you're going to practice. I mean, how are you going to get out of it as a product of it? So the beautiful thing is, if this gunslinger is always going to lose to the selfing, but the selfing still takes time. Yeah. There's the conscious contact, and there is a pause where there is no selfing. Yeah. And in that time is what we are, because that is no time. Yeah. That is being. There's being, and then there's the selfing that says, I'm the one that's being. And there's a seeing from there. And you can see the fastest process in time. And it will slow down for you to see it in timelessness. Yes? The timelessness pauses it, where it seems so fast it's already in place before you know it. Now you see it before, as it's being conceived. Yes? And so the formulation that Ramana speaks of, and hopefully we get somewhat close to it that we're offering, you'll see that formulation in your own event. You'll see it finally. You'll get the message, yes, that you are never going to get the message. It's beautiful. There's a huge relief in the relief from the need to be liberated. It is. It's huge relief, yeah? And it just begets more relief, because I'll tell you, in a way, in time and space, we've been hung out to dry. That's just the way it goes. Yeah. Every attempt to become free in time reinforces the being bound in time. That's how crazy it is. That's why Ramana, I feel, when he put it out, he came out of this space and he said, listen, the only thing you can do, there's two things. You can inquire of the origins of your misery with the self-inquiry, or if that seems to be too overwhelming, just admit that you're overmatched, that you're fucked, and thy will be done. Yeah, so you can live as an action figure, checking out the origin of your misery, or just give up the whole ghost and feel like you're in good hands while you go through this mysterious event called time and space. Yeah. Yeah. He didn't talk about anything else. He said, because of this fundamental FLAW of processes, yeah, the process, if it was quicker than the selfing, it would work, probably, but it ain't, so it doesn't. Yeah. So there you go. That's why we're not speaking at anyone directly in a weird way, and that a lot of people don't understand me, and I don't care, and think that everything I'm saying is going over their head, but that's where we're aiming. I do not want you to I do not want you to have a mental understanding of satsang or non-duality. It's because it's going to end up being a deterrent, really, based on the formula I just shared. Yes? Whatever comes after the first process is going to infect. It is. It cannot infect. Can infect what comes again. Or let's say it's new the first time, but after that, every time you start to do it, you're the doer of it. Yes. And then there'll be an just like if you identify with a team in football, you wear their jackets and shit. There'll be an identification as a meditator. So you'll start wearing looser clothes, probably going to Good Earth or Whole Foods and shit like that. Yes. Let your hair down a little bit, monotone, a lot of pauses, loving gaze, hopefully. Yeah, the head's gonna mimic what it thinks it would look like, not to be the head.
Did he freeze?
And that may work, because really what you may be living on a head's to get a lot of attention. Now we're paying a lot of attention to you in your little community, man. Shit, you have a new identity. It's working better than the last one. So when someone comes with a solution, you already think you have a solution. So you're not into it. Who wants to admit that? Maybe it was, I didn't have to meditate for 20 years. Who wants to admit that? Not the meditator, that's fucking for sure. No way. So this is, oh, I need to do it tonight. I just remembered. I think someone's here. I hope they are. I have to go over the pooper scooper. I promised somebody the pooper scooper story, and I can apply it to this too. So in recovery, recovery is trying to shine a light into a dense forest. There's a lot of resistance in the people who need the most help. There just is. It's a very weird condition because the disease talks to you as the diseased. You take yourself to be the disease that's talking at you. Yeah, it's very strange. But so you try to find ways to get something through. So the pooper scooper story is about a guy who has a beautiful house. I just rode a bike up the hill from here, and there's sort of like these ranches, and they have beautiful properties. And then as soon as I go by the security camera, I try to ride faster because I probably could trigger a warning for the security. But so someone has a beautiful house. He has a beautiful lawn. He gets up in the morning. He jumps in the morning dew with no shoes on, runs around, does, angels, snow angels in it, loves it. He makes money from it. He rents it out for weddings, and he has croquet tournaments and shit like that. And then this one day he jumps off the porch and he lands in some shit. Yeah. Some dog shit. So he looks around and he smells it. He sees a couple more shits. So he goes back on the porch. That's the end of running around with no shoes on. Puts some shoes on. And he starts walking around his property. There's a lot of shit. Yeah. Of course, he doesn't want to deal with that. He has a big wedding this weekend. So he just walks back into the house, closes the door, tries to deny it for a while, goes back out. There's more shit. Yes. It really stinks. So he's sitting in there and he doesn't know what to do. And he sees a commercial about pooper scoopers. And it's like a 4-minute infomercial. He signs up, he gets a pooper scooper, goes out there, starts cleaning it up. And he starts getting pretty good at it. So he can clean up enough shit that he has like a 6 by 8 foot piece of grass, nice and pristine for, let's say, an hour or something. Yeah. So a lot of people are having this problem, and they're getting together to have meetings to talk about it. And he starts going and he's sharing, and he says, I'm pretty good, and I use 2 pooper scoopers at once. And they said, well, you should release your YouTube video, make a tutorial. And so he does. And he starts getting asked to speak in other places, and he becomes like a big circuit speaker. And he's got the videos of him with 2 things, scooping up the shit really fast. Got autographed leather jackets, pooper scooper master, whatever. Got about 500 of them in the garage, selling them online. And he thinks he has the solution. And so does a lot of other people. And so one day a guy hears about him, and he goes over and he says, hey, I hear you have a problem. He says, no, I'm Mr. Pooper Scooper. I've got it handled. And the guy goes, okay, well, if you really want to solve it, just find the dog. Yeah. So the guy goes, what? Yeah, find the dog. Get rid of the dog, and there goes the shit. Now you think the guy would rush to embrace that message, but his head is in a big stall because it's got a lot of investment. It has a mortgage to pay. It has to sell those 500 pooper scoopers. He's got a whole year of circuit speaking and shit like that. He thinks he has a very multi-purpose solution. I can pick up a lot of shit pretty fast. But the real solution is to get rid of the dog. Yeah. So this is what happens when there's an identification with let's say the second process in time, trying to get out of something that we're actually not in, let's say through meditation and shit. there's an investment. The head gets identified with it. Yeah. And now it's brought about, it's gotten self-esteem and pride. It has respect. It's getting fed on a lot of action figure levels. It feels like it's a big wig and he has a sense of community. Yeah. So, but it's not getting down to the exact nature of the situation. But that's fine. But see, now the second solution, the second process, yeah, is taking itself to be the solution. And it doesn't want to hear about the first one. Yeah. But this is a thing that you can see, and that which is, let's say, slow playing it or trying to distract itself from this inevitable fact that I'm not that, yeah, is going to be a great piece of value, because you're going to see these misunderstandings with their little leather autograph jackets. You're going to see the concerns about what's going to happen when I can't sell these poopa scoopers. You're going to see what you're not. Yeah. You're going to see it. It's going to come out of the weeds and really show itself. And it's like, you would think this is the worst day, but it's actually the best day. Yeah. Because now, instead of having those, you know, that desire to find the answer, and you have both of your mental hands are holding poopa scoopers. The poopa scoopers have been knocked off, and you just see the naked desire to get out of something you're not in. It's incredibly valuable. Yeah. Because you'll recognize it's not you. And finally, you saw the manufacturing of a you from that which is before the manufacturing of the you, instead of trying to hold on and practice an understanding that came after the manufacturing of you. So now the you wants to be a non-you. It's incredibly painful. Have you ever seen a self trying to be non-self? You don't want to be caught in an elevator with someone. No, no, no. There is no elevator. There's no one caught. I cannot respond when you say you. Hey, there is no Bill. There is no me. There is no you. Hey, we're stuck in an elevator, motherfucker. Chill out. There's no one stuck in the elevator. How's that working? All right, so all right, Mike. The rant is over somewhat. Do you see it though in time? Do you see the mental claiming is super fast? Yeah. Do you believe that you're cast as the doer of the thing that you're going to try to do to get out of the doer before you even start the doing? If you've had more than one example of it, you've seen the whole point of it. You can't get out of what you're not in. And you can't get into what you're not out of. All right, Mike. I don't know where. Oh, Mike. Yeah. If anyone wants to share, whatever.
David down under. Hi, David.
David down under.
Hi, Paul. Hi, Mike. Hi, everybody. Paul, I was just wondering, when did you first hear about non-duality, or who's the first person that ever sort of spoke about it? Do you know?
Well, to me, for me, not the first person ever. I don't know who was the first person ever spoke about it. But with me, it was a lady from East Europe named Neelam. And it was in the 90s, I think. 90 something, 99 or 98, I think, in Berkeley, in a park. I couldn't hear a word she said. She spoke very softly. There was about 3, 4 people sitting on the ground, and I was sitting, trying to get closer to try to hear her, but I sensed something right from the get-go. Yeah. You know, that brought me back the next week and stuff. And I finally, after all the somethings and all the sought after, I was literally getting nothing. I couldn't hear her at all. And but I had a feeling to go back. And then, of course, that set off something. And then someone said, hey, you could go see this person. And then I went. And then I got introduced to a book by a guy named Ramesh Balsekar called Who Cares?, which I liked a lot. Yeah. And that's when the ball started rolling downhill. Yeah. Yeah. It had built its own momentum. Yes. And then it just, there it went. It was such a novel idea to finally to question the starting point my whole life was started from. That the novelty of that was unique in that sea of spirituality that I was swimming. Yeah. And really, it was like a little atoll, a little small island of nothing that gave me the best sanctuary, really. Yeah. I got washed up on that shore, and it became the last answer, so to speak. Yeah. So that's how I think it happened. There was some people I liked that I saw, but I always loved the energy. But then you would see the misunderstandings too. You would see in a big meeting of non-duality, there was a large group that was sitting there, and there was one person that was sitting in front, and you could sense the large group thought the one person had something they didn't have. So it was perfect non-duality. It was a perfect dualistic thing going on. Yeah. So there was people, and there was one person, and obviously it felt like all the people thought the one person had what they all wanted. Yeah, that's two, isn't it? It was just
sort of like watching Muji. Yeah, you get that feeling watching him. Yeah.
Yes. So what happened was this guy who I'd see, and he had a Zen background. So the last time I ever went, I was at this meeting, and he said, he started to laugh, and it sounded different than when he usually laughed. And it was, I'm like an old Zen saying, I'm a man standing by the river selling water. Yeah. And then he said, it's even funnier that I'm a man standing in the river selling water. And I sort of got, and that was the last time I went. Yeah. Yeah. So trying to buy water, there's a pre-assumption that I'm dry, let's say. Yes. This is what non-duality questions. Who is it that's dry? It doesn't go into a wealth of ways to get water. It just questions the fundamental core of the seeking. Who is it? Who is it that believes it's dry? If you're not that, you may find out you're completely drenched. Yes? But that believes it's dry while being completely drenched. This idea. Yeah? And I found through this processes that you're going to waste a lot of time trying to convince that which is convinced it's dry, that it should be convinced it's wet. Just pass, just move over, move around. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, the action figure, yeah. This is, I'm very, very clear, and I may not be, but it's very clear where I'm sitting. The action figure can be rehabbed from addiction. Yeah. It can't be rehabbed from the action figure. Yeah. The action figure is not going to get over the action figure. It just doesn't happen. Yeah. You have to see the strength of this activity. I had a huge phase in this life of drug addiction, and to one drug particular, cocaine, and to one way to administer that drug intravenously. Yeah. And I would do basically anything to get a shot of that stuff. Even though the only thing you got from it really was the rush. And most of the other time it was painful, really. The head would get overactive, go fucking crazy, but something got you and had you and rode you. Yeah. Now, when I did all that stuff, I never for 1 second thought I was cocaine. Never, ever, ever, nowhere close. I believe humbly that in the addiction of the head to this idea of being the doer, the thinker, the feeler, we start as the drug that we're addicted to. Yeah. We start trying to get out of cocaine addiction as fucking cocaine. That's an extreme. I never saw a life of the playing out of an addiction in this world as thoroughly as that well developed than the addiction of the mental state to the idea of the doer, the thinker, the feeler. Not even close. Not even fucking close. I do not believe you're going to rehab that. You see, you're not that. Yeah. I just heard a thing on a show again. All right, we're going to stop doing this. We're going to start doing that. That has never worked. Yeah. Just see you're not the one who feels like it has to stop, and you're not the one who feels like he has to start. Yes. That's the relief. I'm not, when people would tell me, why don't you just stop drinking or stop shooting drugs? Yeah, it seems like that's an obvious, simple, yeah, why don't you stop? It was impossible, seemingly. Yeah. So if it's about stopping doing what you can't stop doing, I'm a goner. Yeah. But if you're not that which is doing, there's relief. Yes. There's freedom right there. This is what I have to share, because this is how it worked with me. Completely. I did not get better at fighting off these things. I saw that I was not that was fighting off the things. That's what's worked better. Yeah. I'm not a vow maker anymore. I don't state I'm never going to do that ever again. None of this shit happens. Yeah. I just see I'm not that has arisen and is now posturing as the one that did shit and the one that should not have done stuff. There was no winning formula on that level in this event with me. Yeah, none. So this is the non-duality solution, and this where I'm sitting. That's how it's worked. Yeah. I have not overcome anything. I've been lifted out of shit and placed in a position of neutrality. I did not claw and fight my way through biases and differences and opinions and prejudice to arrive at a position of neutrality. I've been placed in the position of neutrality. It's completely different. I am not a spiritual warrior. No way. Yeah. I've admitted defeat. That's the success. Yeah. I can't get out of me as me. I can't. It's impossible. But that's great. That's great news, because I'm not in me. Yeah. No matter how much the me that's presented believes it's in me, I'm not of that. Yeah. So it can have complete conviction it's in me, and I don't have that conviction. Yeah. This is why we tried to share about it yesterday. We didn't try, we shared. The sense of individuality does not arise from the individual. The sense of individuality is implying there's an individual. There's no individual that's putting out the perfume of a sense of individuality. There's a sense of individuality that's implying there's an individual. Be very clear. That's what we're saying here, like it or not. If it's true, I don't know if it's going to be true or not for you, but this is what's true here. Yeah. There's a sense of individuality that does not verify there's an individual. It implies there's one. Yeah. And that sense of individuality can be presented and not be true. You can see it as not true, yet it will still present itself. Yeah. But you get weaned off of what the head presents as what you present. You see that you're not the head, and you lose interest in its presentation. And now you're busily being in conscious contact with what's happening now. Yeah. If you can beat off the fucking imaginary foes, great. Fantastic. I hope you become the world champion of defeating. Yeah. But this did not work for me. Yeah. All you need to do is hold your breath for 20 minutes. I can't hold my breath for 20 minutes. All you need to do is stop cherishing opinions. I can't stop cherishing opinions. Well, what can you do? See that I'm not that which is cherishing opinions. Hallelujah. That works. Yeah. Every other way, it sounds like an order, and inevitably, sometimes it's presented beautifully, and then the orders come in. You're going to have to do this, do that, do this. Yes. You're going to start here, then you got to get, it's always, it didn't work. It didn't work with me. So this was an admittance that whatever gets called to arms, I'm not in that uniform. Yeah. I'm listening to another message. Yes. That I'm that. And how that other message keeps replaying is by seeing what I'm not. That's it. That's what's going on where I'm sitting. Yeah. So I have truly been relieved from the need to be liberated. That's the liberation. That's the liberation I found, was being freed from the need to be liberated completely. Completely freed from it. Yeah. And a lot of others, a lot of absolutes that were the only way things were going to truly change. Yeah. I've lost interest in all those absolutes. Yeah. I'm completely transcended, and now I'm the most perfect personal physical embodiment of the truth. That's not me. Yeah. I did not go through that process. The process that I've seen is what's presented as me in the head is not me. Yeah. And instead of looking for what I am from the head, I see the head from what I am. I can't say it any clearer. That's how it is. Yeah. It's just a change. Just little tweaks change everything. You don't need a huge fucking bending of the light arc. You need a little tweak here and there. The change of emphasis is it. Yeah. What you've been missing just hasn't been emphasized. When you start seeing in a new manner, things that your head would never emphasize now get emphasized. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. So when the head think it's like its movie and its plot is like a terror company attacks the country, your emphasis is it's a character study. It's something else. You don't see the movie like you used to see it. You just don't. Yeah. There's no efforting. You just don't see it. What it is, you respond to a new way of seeing. You don't produce a new way of seeing. There's a new way of seeing, and then there's responses to that. Yeah. And you come to certain conclusions based on the new way of seeing. And a lot of those conclusions are about the old way of seeing. And they all are wrapped up with one conclusion: I'm not that. That's basically it. Yeah. And then you're off on your Wednesday night, whatever. What can I do? Yeah. But you don't get gypped. You're here completely, sleeping, awake. Yeah. You've never not been here. And you never will not be here. What appear may disappear, but what is doesn't. Yeah. So, hey, I hope it's bringing about a traveling lighter. Really. I really do. I mean, in the game board of life, they can't calculate the greatest values. They can't. It's sort of like how many houses or this and that or Teslas or what. It's great. That gives you a broad idea of something. But the real value is in the living of things. Yes. And I think many of us have amassed a huge wealth in this life. Yeah. I do. I feel like many of us are quite rich. Yeah. So, all right, Mike, anyone?
No hands showing. Anybody want to wave their hand? Miranda. Hey, Miranda.
Hey guys. I just feel compelled to say something about the policeman and the thief, and just so much experiencing of that since having a big whack like a year and a half ago, and how that has just slowly died down. And but having this experience of using AA to get sober and sharing authentically, being perceived as a thief, and having that projected and explained to me, like, you're a thief here in a particular meeting. And what I have endeavored to share has been the riches that you're describing, Paul, like the fruits. And that's not how it fucking sounds to some people. And having this experience of being like personally attacked, names directed at me, names named, knowing that there was this big discussion of Miranda and what she says, and it just not landing here. Like, not because there is no selfing that occurs, just because it clearly was not about me. There was all of this activity there and this anger, and I wasn't abiding by the rules as they were perceived by some folks, which I cannot see within what I've read in the book and what the dictates of this particular meeting were. Like, I wasn't doing anything outside of that. They just didn't like me. They didn't like me. They wanted to share that they didn't like Miranda. And I've just been coming here over and over. My sponsor is a Zen Bitch Slap Life member. She doesn't give a fuck about what I think about AA or what AA thinks about me. It doesn't have anything to do with that. Like, my relationship with my sponsor, it's about staying sober, recognizing that I am not the doer thereof, having the constant reminder of a loving friend who accepts the action figure completely and totally, embraces all of it. And it's teaching me to just be okay with that and know that that's just what's happening here. Like, and I don't know if I'm making any sense. I know it fucking doesn't matter. Like, and my sponsor is here. I want to thank her. I want to thank you, Paul. I want to thank Mike and Carrie and the people who like are of service to this meeting, where I've never experienced anything like that. Feel completely safe sharing whatever comes up for me. I appreciate everyone who holds space for that, because that's all I want to do for everyone in my life, is just hold space for wherever they're at. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you, honey, Sharon. Just maybe go to another meeting. Or start another meeting yourself. Yeah. Get some like-minded people and write your own format. And put it on it.
I've kind of had a project in mind for a long time, and I'll talk to you about it sometime. I have friends who are on deck, ready to help. Yeah. So,
yeah. And again,
couldn't
something in you says, oh, this is all right, and it isn't. Just see you're not that. Yeah.
I've never been I'm an introvert. I don't really, group shit isn't really important to me. That's not really where I thrive. It's not, but having a safe place to just fucking talk to people.
Necessary.
Yes, and there are not a lot of ears for this, and the spiritual communities are absolute suffocation, and like the talking that occurs in a lot of those groups and what they're trying to get out of it and all of that, like I have no interest whatsoever. It's like, and it's completely, you have helped me like just feel completely safe in that being totally okay. Completely unnecessary. Like, it's just not, it's really necessary for some folks. It's not necessary for me. I'm, like.
That's why you found this, a loving presence leads you to what's good for you. That presence, it could be your essence, or you want to call it as a grace or something, but yeah. So something in this dreaming oneself out of the dreaming, you needed a safe place, and you found it in an unlikely place on a Zoom called Zen Bitch Slap. There you
But
have it.
so likely that this character is just magnetically pulled to the Paul character. Like, just it works so well. And it was so hard for me to listen to you initially. It was so hard. Like the not getting it was really intense. So it would like really rev up something here. And then I was just like, oh, like I just knew that was like, that this felt cool. But at the same time, it was like energetically, like, was a lot. It felt like really hitting a wall. The message was just like
Hey,
difficult.
I'd be giving, a 5-ingredient recipe for blueberry muffins. People would like me a lot more. They get a
And
muffin.
also your sharing of how you just don't like operate in the world the way that a lot of folks do. And that's why you do what you do. And I fucking jump through all the hoops, after, being a knocked up teenager and high school dropout, fucking went to college and killed it and thought that it was all about the head. It was political philosophy. Like I was enamored. And I didn't realize like how much seeking there was there. It was like all of these beautiful writers. And then I had these professors that are like, yeah, we love your mind and the way you talk about these things and you fucking get it, and so I thought that was the answer. And then I was just like, there's just like nothing there for me after I did what I was supposed to do. And then I was raped and I got spun out. Like I got spun out because I finally told people and there was no space. The things that people said to me, like I just couldn't believe this whole world. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe like the reactions. And I just got really drunk for a long time and I could barely get out of bed. And the story is a long one, whatever, but it doesn't really fucking sound like a lot of people who like did all this spiritual shit. It was not how it went. It was like very crazy. And I got totally fucking nuts and it's the best thing that ever could have happened. Like everything fucking fell apart. Everything. It was like water in my hands and I have not put it back together and it's not happening. It's not happening.
Good.
So thank you for the permission slip, as you say. Like that was granted here somehow and I'm fucking taking full advantage. So thank you.
No problem. Yes. Thank you, honey. Yeah. There's all movements, sometimes you go one way and then it creates a counter the other way. It's a dualistic movement. And a lot of people's lives are like that. There's a lot of people that went one way and then in one example, they get into recovery and then they go the other way. Yeah. And yeah, it's a safe space, son. Take advantage of it and start another meeting or anything. Yeah. People. Yeah. So, all right. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Miranda. Now Kathleen wants to throw some rocks at you. No, she said the talk fucking rocks.
All right.
No, I just wanted to say, I'm sorry, Paul, I can't get my camera to work, but I just wanted to say that I feel like I just came out of a dark time that I didn't know I was in. And I owe an amazing thanks to the Zen Bitch Slap Fellowship community for helping me to get through that. There are so many of you I have to thank for that. My question is, how was every word of tonight's talk written just for me?
Yeah.
Thank you. I love you. Love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. Of course, it was written for you, honey. See, if you stop cluttering up the space with all these somethings, nothing will appear. Yeah. Yeah. That's great, Kathleen. I'm happy. Yeah. It's just nice to see people traveling lighter. And the GPS of the head is very limited with its maps and shit. And it's not too good with alternate routes at all. And a lot of us needed to find alternate routes. Yeah. So
Yeah.
here we are, we're all listening to a different drummer and shit, and it's working better. I don't need to be in argument with other people listening to another drummer. I don't care really. And but you find what's working, and just it's like staying on the operating table and not getting up, and don't play doctor. There's not that many. It's not a very difficult. What's being asked of us isn't that difficult once you get into the groove, and you just lose interest in this idea of being the one. And you can't lose interest in that idea of being the one as the idea of being the one. It just doesn't work. So here we are. Let's say you believed you had mapped out the square feet of your room, and it was 30 feet. And we're just telling you there's 2 feet. You can go back farther. Yeah. Not see something, you can see this thing that's saying it's seeing the other something. Yeah. You
Yes.
There's for that. Just fall back. Yeah. All that needs to be done, noticed, or impressed, or invited is the possibility. You are the feast of possibilities, and that which can feast on possibilities has been starved by this mental activity. It serves you so little, so fucking little, and the same old. But here's a new possibility, and let's see what happens. Yeah. And then
So Paul, all of that is exactly what happened. Those words were also written exactly for me, and everything, my life circumstances are getting ready to change completely. And I might be traveling around the States sooner than I had expected. And I am so free, and the possibilities are endless. And I am so grateful. I am just in absolute state of gratitude for what amazing things are to come next in my life.
fantastic. Yeah.
All of you are a part of it.
You should become a travel agent. I'd buy a trip from you. Yes. Doing some spiritual travel agent. You
I'm
want to
sorry
go?
to interrupt you, Paul. I'm sorry.
Yeah. The person comes in. I want to plan a trip. On having never left. There would be more gratitudes being sent to your office when all these get the real message on having never left. They'll be really happy. I'm happy. Thanks, honey, for
Thank you for the bedtime story, Paul.
yeah, thank you. Yes. And yeah. I'm gonna cry tonight a little. I feel like it's one of those fireplace talks. You're supposed to have some hot cocoa with a marshmallow in it. Yeah, something like that. With my comforter and my flannel pajamas on. Yeah. So, it's so incredible. Amelia and I you know, we may need to move from this place. And then it's always shown in our face, like this house down the road just sold for 950, like $1 million. And we don't have that. We don't have that ability, but we're in a great house already, you see? So there's thoughts about another house and the impossibility of getting it while we're in an incredible place. That if you had seen this place before you got it, you would have been saying the same thing. How are we ever going to get this place? So there you go. Yeah. So yeah. Just, you know, you can program. This happened to me once, you know, when I was getting the phones. I had a cell phone and I was traveling around the East Coast doing talks, and my cell phone didn't have the GPS. It was terrible, right? And so one of the people that managed my trips got me a phone, and I didn't know the settings were on scenic routes. So I had to go somewhere, and so I punched to go somewhere up to Massachusetts. It took me to every lake, like through New Jersey and West Point and everywhere. It was 5 hours, but it was great. But at night, I had to go back to Dover, New Jersey. And I was afraid I'd lose the whole thing. So I didn't know how to switch it from scenic. So it was pitch black, and every half a mile I made a left or right. I was visiting lakes in the dark. It was incredible. But the daylight, I wouldn't have traded that scenic route for the quicker, faster way at night for anything. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it's just there's a possibility of alternate routes. All right, Mike. I think we'll end it, soon.
Oh, after Joe? Joe has his hand up.
Sure. I didn't see Joe. Come on, Joe.
You there, Joe? You might be having trouble turning.
He had his hand up.
It's still up. He was turning his video on and off. Maybe he's having problems.
Well, we'll give Joe. It's a no-go for Joe. Just if he comes in, let's start saying goodbye, and if he gets it figured out, we'll do it. All right. Nice to see you, Mike. All's well there?
Oh yeah. Nice rainy day.
Yeah. You're gonna go into the fall, eh? Nice.
Yeah, we've had a good amount of color already, so it's been fun.
Yeah. Yeah. We got Brandon, one of our resident musicians. Nice to see you, Brandon. We got Marty, our Wi-Fi master. He manages the Wi-Fi. Very good. Richard H. Nice to see you, Richard.
Joe's back.
All right, Joe.
You're still muted.
Can't hear you. No,
Can you hear us? You're muted. We don't hear you.
1, 2, 4, 5.
Mute yourself. Go to the
7,
same 3 dots.
10. Joe's been knocked out. The fight's over. And we'll get back to him if he comes in. We got Kerry in Hawaii. Nice to see you. So it's clear about that book, eh? The right one.
Yeah, I got it. I know when you mentioned Rahman today, yeah, I'm gonna make that happen. I'm working the next couple days, but
Very
definitely
nice.
count on it.
It's pictorial, really.
Yeah, I saw it. I got it.
Good.
I think we
Paul,
got Joe.
can you hear me now? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, Joe.
Okay, at last satsang I attended, I can't remember when it was, a few days ago. Just like this one, it was recorded, and it was, I asked, do we receive a a copy of this recording. Yes, but I never saw anything. What's the magic bullet that gets a recording? I kept looking for it in my email, but
Oh, Mike, I don't know the answer to that. Mike?
They're on YouTube. All these
No.
talks are on YouTube.
Yeah, it's on YouTube and it actually forwards to the website. So either way, you can go to the website, ZBS website, or you can go to YouTube.
What page on the website? Is it a video page?
Yeah, the video tab.
Right, just hit the video tab, Joe. It'll take you to the newest talks. On Zen.
oh, so I'm going to YouTube. I'm not going through Zen Bitch Slap.
No, you can go to that bitch map too.
Yeah.
Either way.
You can go through YouTube, but if you've obviously know the website, so you can go through that. Just go to the video page and there'll be the new talks.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
Last ones will be up there. Are they dated?
Yeah, they're
They're
in
dated.
order.
Thank you.
The talks are dated, but the message is always fresh. Yes. Yes. Okay, Rico. Nice to see you, man. Thank you. Anu, as always. Yeah. Craig May. Yes, there he is. I had Greg, who you sent a scarf to. Yeah, yeah. He was over here yesterday.
Oh, nice one. Nice one. How's he going?
He seemed to be doing all right. Yeah, he'd just been with his son and he escaped Burning Man and he was trucking around. It was nice. We had a couple of people at the house. He came over early and yeah, it was good.
Nice one. Beautiful meeting tonight. All the shares were gorgeous. The shares tonight were gorgeous.
Oh yeah, very nice. Yes. Yeah, Mia was just here. She left about 4 pounds of biscotti. Yes, and she's on her way to Pismo Beach. Yeah, great, fantastic. I guess she arrived. Wow, fantastic. Yeah, that's cool. All right, David from Down Under. Nice to see you, bro. Yep, as always. Sherry's down in San Diego. She'll be in Sicily. Yeah, her sunny smile is going to get amplified. The sun of Sicily. Pretty nice. Yeah, yeah.
It's gonna be beautiful. Thank you, Paul. Such a beautiful talk tonight. Thank you.
Oh yes, thank you. William Stamps. Nice to see you, my friend. And here's Gary. Gary C is looking better every time. Fantastic, Gary. Yes. Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Yes, you're welcome. Frank looks like he's been using mayonnaise. That's pretty nice. Tej, always nice to see Tej. How are you, bro? Alan Olson, thank you for all the support. And I'll be seeing you and his brother or his wife. And Alan in Sicily. Fantastic. Florida, John. My main man down there. Miranda. Nice to see you, honey. Yeah. Yeah. Rob from Massachusetts. Rob M. Nice to see you, Rob. Steve down in San Diego. Traveling a little lighter today, I hope. Lindy. The sky, not the cloud. Susanna. Werner. Who's this? Hold on. We got Cassandra. Very nice. Kathleen. Fantastic. Christine in Hawaii. Over on the Kona side, I think. Esther. Down near Philly in the main line. Fletch. I think I got everybody. Yeah, yes. Hey, yeah, thanks, Craig and everyone. It's a pleasure to spend the time with you. And we are the space in this time, which is pretty nice. Yeah, yeah. All right, see you guys. We'll be here tomorrow, for a recovery meeting. And then I think the schedule Saturday, there'll be the 1 o'clock Zoom and a live meeting at the church. So, all right. See you guys. Bye-bye.
Thank
Well,
you.